Makovsky. I'm President and CEO of JINSA. Welcome to JINSA Snapshot. I'm joined by my distinguished colleague, John Hanna, the Randi and Charles Wax Senior Fellow. So we're recording here on Friday afternoon, June 27th. This is after a few days, of course, after the ceasefire that began actually, I guess, early Tuesday morning, Mideast time, or Tuesday morning, I should say, Mideast time. And the last time we spoke, John, was on Sunday, right after the U.S. attack. So I think we want to talk about, the last 2 weeks, but obviously we just need a pause about what a momentous moment this is. I think let's start with what it is for Israel, which obviously this whole long war began on October 7th of 2023. They're obviously with the barbaric attack and the deterrence shattered. We are now here at the end of June, and Israel now has destroyed piece by piece the different Iranian proxies. First Hamas, not completely destroyed, of course, but mostly taken care of. It's certainly no longer a threat to Israel at this very moment, but Israel still has to get the hostages free and finish off Hamas. Then they decapitated and pretty much decimated Hezbollah in the late summer and early fall. Then Assad fell very quickly, and Israel then, in early December, and Israel then went in and destroyed all the weapons cache. So the Iranians, all that money, all those billions of dollars they poured in with this ring of fire, pretty much eliminated the Hezbollah in particular was seen as the key line of defense for the Iranians, that if Israel ever attacked Iran, then Hezbollah would fire their 150,000 odd missiles and rockets. But they were no longer a factor. In this last war, Hezbollah didn't do anything. So then it was just Israel against Iran. And the Israelis went in with U.S. approval. And then obviously the U.S. came in at the end with the mobs. So and now Israel is not only with the American help, not only, it seems like we don't know all the details about all the destruction, but it's pretty much, it seems like eliminated the Iranian nuclear threat, pushed it back. We don't know exactly how long. That's still being assessed. But you could argue that by also humiliating the Iranians with their really brilliant campaign, the Israelis have helped settle their accounts with the Iranians and really help restore deterrence in the region.
Yeah, no, listen, Mike, I remember us sitting here doing a webinar right after October 7th, and it was just the depths of despair at that point, the collapse of Israeli deterrence at its lowest point. And, who could have believed that 20 months later we'd be sitting here and the Iranian 30-year project to achieve regional hegemony that looked so promising just, 20 months ago has now been completely laid low, and its Israeli deterrence is now as high as it's ever been. And we sit on the cusp of a major inflection point in the region where this 30-year project of Iranian hegemony looks like it is now collapsing. It is America and Israel that have, for the first time in their history, conducted a joint offensive operations against this common enemy to take it down, with Israel in the leadership role. Now, obviously, the regional superpower kind of setting this stage, if we can consolidate this victory, setting the stage for a complete transformation of the Middle East balance of power in terms of security, in terms of diplomacy, in a way that dramatically favors the forces of the United States and its friends in the region. So it's been an amazing turn of events. And for Israel, I think, just, the most amazing reversal of one country's fortunes in such a short amount of time, from these low lows to these high highs where the future is open. But really consolidating this victory in Iran, which is the foundation for everything we want to do in the future. That has to be our focus. We can't get distracted. We can't be too euphoric. We got to focus on job one, which is consolidating this massive defeat of this Iranian imperial project.
Before we talk about just what that means, just to clarify again where we are in this moment, people said for years, I'd hear Netanyahu didn't have the guts to do this, and Israel didn't have the capability. Well, it turns out Netanyahu did have the guts, and the Israelis had a lot more capability than people thought they would have. And we also heard 5 presidents in a row vow to prevent a nuclear Iran. There are other moments where maybe we thought, particularly I think back in 2012, we thought it might be a moment for various reasons for military action. The U.S., people said the U.S. won't do it. I personally was skeptical coming in, and obviously I think if Kamala Harris was president, obviously I don't think this would have happened at all, certainly on the U.S. side, U.S. participation. But Trump had the guts of his conviction. He said he wouldn't allow a nuclear Iran, and he meant what he said. And it was, as we talked about, is a very important statement for our allies to see this and also our adversaries. So tell me, as you pointed out, how do we consolidate this? Because I think already people are thinking, okay, normalization, what else we could do in the region. But as you point out, we need to make sure we got this taken care of.
Yeah, listen, I think it's absolutely essential we have that broader vision of where we want to go to get President Trump his Nobel Prize, but finishing this job, keeping our eye on the ball, keeping Iran down. We've dismantled every element of its strategy for regional hegemony, the nuclear program, the missiles, the ring of fire, and now we've just got to make sure those things cannot be reconstituted. We can do that through a deal. My hopes aren't that high. Otherwise, we've got to do it by keeping, our pedal to the metal, the pressure on Iran economically, and obviously through this, the fact that we've now crossed this Rubicon. We, together with the Israelis, individually or together, can attack Iran, can hold it accountable for all of its malign activities in the region. It can't be allowed to hide behind proxies anymore. And if it tries to do anything to reconstitute what has now been destroyed, we are prepared to either let Israel do it, for the United States to do it, or both of us to go back together. And I think that the president in the last several days has repeated, when asked on several occasions, are you ready to go back if the Iranians try to reconstitute that nuclear program? He said, yes, that is absolutely critical. We and the Israelis have got to have very solid understandings and agreements between us on how we are going to consolidate this victory and create this foundation for achieving this future vision. So we got a lot of work to do, and I know that you and I and JINSA are going to stay on top of it.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to point on the crossing the Rubicon. The mystique is gone, right? I mean, the fear, as we heard, particularly on the isolationists, right? Like people like Tucker Carlson, World War III, thousands of Americans are going to get killed, endless wars. We heard this from all this. It turned out it was a very focused war. There was no regional war. The Iranians didn't try to close the Strait of Hormuz. They did attack a U.S. base, but it was pretty. There was no casualties. It was pretty minimal. They even telegraphed that they were going to do this. So it makes it easier, it seems like, to do exactly what you said, to now try to make sure to enforce this. But there has to be a bilateral U.S. Israel understanding on this, right?
Amen, Mike. Amen.
All right. Well, look, we'll finish up here. I also want to end on also say I want to commend the soldiers of the two countries, the Israelis and the Americans, for both performing so brilliantly and also for working together. And I think it's a tremendous model for going forward. So we wish everybody a good weekend. John, great to talk to you.
See you, Mike. See you next time.
We'll talk to you next week. Okay, bye.